In 2012, Kamlaji, a rape happened a few days before Valentine's Day here on Park Street. I think there is not one person in Calcutta who has ever forgotten that event. That lady went on to reveal herself. She kept in the shadows for some time. She, in fact, after the incident, she went back home. She tried to forget the incident, as most of us do. But after 3 days, she found the courage and she walked into a police station. The police refused to believe her. They misbehaved with her. It was Valentine's Day and they tried to entice her, solicit her to go for a beer with them. That lady was Suzette Jordan. Unfortunately, in 2015, that lady passed away. And she was asked those same questions. She was a young girl of about 30, 35, and she was asked, what were you doing on Park Street at 1 o'clock in the morning? Did you have a drink? What were you wearing? Who were you with? You have young children. How come you were not home? And this is precisely what we stand against. Am I right, Kamlaji? Unfortunately, this lady, before all the accused could be arrested, died in 2015. I went for that funeral and I was really touched and moved by the way her young daughter spoke. And today, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever, Suzette's young daughter, all of 21, 22, Ria Jordan, is here to speak about her experience. हम लोग सब बाहर से we can talk, give ज्ञान about what it feels to be a rape survivor or what it feels to be an affected party. Let us listen to someone who has gone through that, and I think that is the core of 1 Billion Rising. Thank you. To encourage her, and Sister Monica is standing there just to give her support, just to be a pillar of strength. Thank you, Ria child. Go ahead, darling.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ria Nicolette Jordan. I am a 20-year-old college-going girl from Kolkata. I am also the older daughter of late Suzette Katrina Jordan. Yes, the Park Street rape survivor. It's funny though, isn't it, how the blame game starts. The whole reason the city is so corrupt is in fact because no one takes charge of their own actions, unless they are praised for it. Human nature is such, we do all the wrong things in order to feel alive, but what happens when we have to testify? When time comes to reason authority for their actions, the blame game starts. Humans will say or do anything to excuse themselves out of a complex situation in order to not have to deal with the consequences. This is one of the most common reflexes with rape cases. Why was she dressed that way? Why was she out so late? Why would she talk to another being of the opposite sex? She asked for it. Really? Really? Did she ask for this? The night my mother had gone out for a couple of drinks with her friends, she had on a brown and white halter top and a white jumper with blue denims and brown calf-length boots. The reason I am describing what she wore the night she was raped is only because that was the only thing that was asked to her and the biggest thing held against her. Not a soul turned to ask her if she had managed to clean the bloodstains of her own soul, or if the insides of her body hadn't torn into two. And I swear on mankind, no one turned to ask her if she ever wanted to live again. Because the courage it took to wake up each day and face the accusations for dressing inappropriately the night she had gone out was enormous. This city should announce how we should and should not go out dressed to a nightclub. Just like the way the cutoff for a state level exam is a proper 35%, and if we do not qualify, we do not get through. Another question that has been burning on my mind is how? How would the authority react to an incident like this split seconds after the announcement? Do they question her clothing as quickly as her character and morality? And last of all, how would any other rape case been solved if the power and financial backing were on the victim's side? Would they still question her clothing? Would the accused have been caught and sentenced sooner? Would it? See people, justice isn't really lost here. It's as hidden under the rich and powerful as insurgency is. Today, girls in our country, India, are being blamed for getting molested, being tormented on the streets, and any other small as well as large way of eve teasing. We were taught right here in this country that it is a free world. So how come women think twice before dressing according to the latest trend? Or cannot joke around with her friends on a street without her upbringing being talked about? Or is India just not part of this free world? Women in our country also speak of equal rights, yet judged to the core on seeing another girl holding a cigarette in the corner of a street, or probably sipping on a beer with her male friends. We were born female. We're not sorry, and we will not apologize for it. Gender discrimination? We never asked for it. Having a whole different body from the male sex, we were given this to wear proudly. We did not ask for it. Being judged for showing skin in public, we looked down on as if we killed humanity. We did not ask for this. And last of all, women being smaller or men being at a higher authority than women, we were made to feel this way. We did not ask for it. And I want to present to you all a short poem that I had written for my mom. So here it goes. The length of a day, to summarize her ways, too short of a time. Her reassuring face that fought this race was like love in a mine. All she asked for was love. Was that not enough? That's something we'd never know. Her memory of the fight for all the things they thought were right is all that's left to show. But for those of you who never knew what a woman she was, this curly brown haired, fair-skinned and rare woman, she wore her flaws. Proud of her mess, someone who'd never dressed to impress, her courage was tall, and her jokes aghast, with which upon telling only she'd have a laugh, and laugh till she'd fall. She'd wake up the dead with the things that she said. She'd never fail to make you smile. If given another life, I'd do it all over again, with Suzette as my mother, Suzette as my friend. She made living worthwhile. I wish the city could have known her like I did, how she fought her own battles and raised 2 kids. They would then know a value of a woman that I knew. Suzette, mother of mine, I will always love you.
Brilliant, brilliant, Ria. Thank you for coming. It takes a lot of courage to come up there and admit. And now we will take a pledge for the OBR that we will take this movement forward. Before that, I think Sister Monica wants to felicitate, and all of us want to felicitate her, right? For her courage, for her resilience, for her tenacity, for her struggles. Child, you go on, we are with you. Thank you, Ria, and thank you, Penny, for bringing her, being with her. Penny, her auntie, is also here. We will, thank you, Penny. Come take a bow. There were very few people who actually stood with Suzette because the administration and the powers that be seem to be on the other side. You know, don't we face this in everyday life? But it's never easy to be right. So we will, before Shane comes and performs and we end off on a happy note, we will light a few candles and we will have a pledge that we will stop this. Ma'am Gauri Basu will take this forward. KMWSC staff, will you please distribute the candles and light it? We are not allowed to light too many candles here, so we got about 20 candles. The rest of us all have mobile phones, right? May I request you all to please stand, or you may sit. It is a matter of respect. If you have respect in your hand, in your hearts, it doesn't matter whether you stand or sit or lie down. And those who don't have candles, may I ask you to raise your mobile phones with the lights on. Ma'am, the pledge is on the LED screen behind. Ma'am will lead us on it.
We can happily say that 1 Billion Rising campaign is breaking the silence against violence and is identifying the places where we will rise. It is learning about our sisters' struggles around the world and making them our own. It is our belief that each one of us in this struggle is on a path of evolution and revolution.
We are
wounded, we are broken,
but
but we strive to break the chains.
Freedom
Is possible. Unity is possible. Everything is possible.
It
It is a rising. It is a revolution. It dissolves borders, edges, separations. It is an unstoppable wave of love, peace, equity, and justice.
Thank you. You may put off your candles and sit back and enjoy the last performance of this evening.